Welcome everybody. We're back to Takacs McGinnis Elder Care Law Hour. I'm Tim Takacs, and our focus today is on sidestepping scams and financial abuses, what it looks like, how to protect ourselves, and what to do if we have been a victim.
And I'm Barbara McGinnis. In this segment, we're going to talk about the prosecution of certain crimes, what rises to the level of a crime, and how prosecution is managed, what kind of restitution there may be for the victims. And with us is the Honorable Allegra Walker, Judge for the General Sessions Court in Davidson County, Division 4.
Yes.
And then with her is also District Attorney General Ray Whitley from Sumner County. And we appreciate you both taking time out of your schedules today to be here. Can you tell us about what kind of cases actually do you see on a daily basis?
Well, I see cases involving elder abuse wherein people they capitalize on the trust and the trusting nature of older people, and they feel like that they're easy targets because older people don't really like to rock the boat, and they count on the fact that they might not be asking a lot of questions to find out what the scam really is. So I see a lot of those type of cases.
What about you, Judge Walker?
So while I'm in court, because I primarily do domestic violence cases, the cases that I will see is when the families get involved. So where there's abuse on the elder, or the family members are trying to get orders of protection against other family members to prevent financial abuse or physical abuse.
So you're hearing the cases and you're prosecuting the cases, right? And you mentioned that you're seeing a lot of these types of cases. Can you kind of give an idea of what particular kind of cases that you're seeing, particularly that are targeting the elderly? There's
always the grandparent scam. About 6 weeks ago, we had a jury trial where a person pretended to be this lady's grandson in prison in Mexico, and he and another person worked this lady over the phone for several days, and she ended up spending $75,000 to try to get him out. We had a jury trial, and he was found guilty, and now he is under a sentence, and he is making restitution to this lady. But more commonly, we have caregiver not scams, but frauds where a caregiver, whether it's a relative or a paid caregiver, will take advantage of a senior person by using their credit card or getting checks out of their checkbook, in the back of the checkbook, in the middle of the checkbook where it would never be missed, and they're taking advantage of the person that they're supposed to be looking out after.
Identity theft. We hear about identity theft all the time. Is that something that you deal with as well?
Identity theft over the last several years has just exploded as far as crime is concerned, and we have identity theft cases all the time. And identity theft is taking somebody's personal information and using it for an illegal purpose. So if you can get a person's social security number, credit card number, driver's license number, there are all kinds of ways that a person is victimized by doing that.
Wow.
So how can people protect themselves from that? I mean, just from your point of view as a prosecutor.
Well, as a prosecutor, you need to ask questions, you need to report it. If anything unusual is going on, they need to report it. But the main thing is keep up with your business. If you see a credit card a transaction or a bank transaction, you report it at that point. Early detection is the way to get it stopped. And I'm not here to advertise LifeLock, but LifeLock is a great way to prevent this from happening, or other agencies that do the same thing. We had 5 people that came from California with credit cards that were stolen and scammed, and came to Sumner County, and we arrested all 5 of them. And one of them was in prison, and he gave us a statement that saying that he used LifeLock, and he was a criminal. But but he said you stay away from cases where you cannot defeat lifelong. And if you don't use that, ask your bank to notify you if there's anything unusual whatsoever.
Right, and we're going to talk later in this program about some of the new laws that have come up about in the banking industry. So.
But how do you decide about whether a case is something you should prosecute or not?
Well, if we can identify the perpetrator, we will prosecute. I'll extradite people from out of state. We have a whole raft of people down in the Hialeah, Florida area that use credit card scams, and we bring them back and prosecute them. And they're counting on the fact that there's not really so much money involved that they won't have to come back to the jurisdiction where they're stealing from. But we'll do it because we can't have it.
So Judge Walker, some of these cases involving seniors come to you. What are the most common ones that you see?
Of course, the most common ones are going to be the physical abuse of the elder, but a lot of times in the order of protection docket, the family members are coming in asking for orders of protection because there's some conflict within the family. So one person is taking care of the elder and they're taking advantage, and then you have the other family members who find out about it and they'll come in asking the court to protect. So essentially they'll remove that family member out of the home and away from the elder to stop some of the abuse. So it can be physical abuse. Generally it's financial abuse. So they're getting the credit cards, they're going to the bank taking money out, they're charging things, they're taking grandma's medication and selling it or taking it themselves. They're doing all kinds of things. These are family members.
So do you refer those out to, like, say, the district attorney or for prosecution, or are these cases already being prosecuted?
Well, it depends on how it comes to me. So an order of protection, I'll make that determination right there. And then if there's a prosecution that comes about, that'll come about, and it may come in front of me as well. But they're two separate proceedings. The civil is the order of protection, and the criminal would be the violating of the law.
So you're hearing both of those types of cases?
I hear both of them.
Are you seeing more and more of them coming up involving seniors, or?
In terms of the prosecution, I don't see a whole lot. In terms of the order protections, they come up a lot. Yeah. They're always fighting about some money or something. Generally, it's money.
You know, something that I see as a problem is where there's maybe children that have relied upon their parents' support for many years, maybe just a lifestyle, a pattern, and at some point in time, the parent becomes, not in a good financial position to continue to support that child. And so what was a habit, what was just a family dynamics, borders on financial exploitation at some point in time.
Exactly.
And that's really hard to intervene with. Any comments or thoughts about what to do with that?
Well, those are always difficult situations, and as the judge said, we sometimes will have one family member complaining on another family member about taking advantage of their finances, and that's where we have to get involved.
So that may really not be something that your department would take care of, but it's still something that Judge Walker may say,
exactly right.
Where you would have the other families step up and say, it's time to protect mama or daddy from themselves.
So there's been some new legislation in the past year.
Right. There are two new laws that went into effect this year. The Tennessee legislature passed a law last year setting up, requiring district attorneys to set up a protection team for adults. It's called VAPIT, Vulnerable Adult Protection Investigative Teams.
That's VAPIT.
VAPIT. VAPIT. And we have it set up in Sumner County. That went into effect January the 1st. In every county or every district in the state, there has to be somebody from the district attorney's office, somebody from Adult Protective Services, and law enforcement from each agency. And so we meet either monthly or every other month, depending on the need, wherein everybody sits around and discusses cases and determines whether or not a case is worth pursuing and bringing it into court.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming in. It's time for a break. We'll have your contact information right up. Gallatin Criminal Court Office, General Sessions Court here in Nashville. Thank you, Judge Walker. Thank you, General Whitley. So it's when we come back, we'll look more closely at financial abuse. What are some of the latest scams in the banking industry, and what are our banks doing to protect our savings? Stay with us.
This is